Are we just born and then we have one life to figure out if we will go to heaven or hell? Or are there many lives where we can explore together with Jesus and learn to evolve until we are fit for heaven? That's the question for today. So, if there were many lives, shouldn't that be mentioned in the Bible? And if there weren't, shouldn't that be mentioned in the Bible? So, what does the Bible say? Actually, the thing is, the Bible aren't very clear about if there are many lives or one life. It is, however, very clear on one thing. There is a duality, that either we make a relationship with God or we do not. Now, in church tradition, they already put this duality within the lifespan of 1 year. One life, that we are just like born as a new creation and then, it's either heaven or hell. No, I don't believe in that type of hell either, because that was created by the church later on. But there are actually, places you don't want to be in the spiritual world. Because when you die, your personality disintegrates. And that can be painful if your soul aren't able to connect with heaven and get into heaven. You might be stuck in this dark space while your personality decomposes. And that can feel hellish. But that's not for all the time, And it's also described, in the Bible many times, by the people being left outside from the party, and gnashing their teeth, or, you can actually see in Luke chapter 16, verse 19 to 31, of the rich and the poor man, the poor man comes to heaven, the rich man is not, and that's not hell, but that is pre-state. Then, of course, we have Judgment Day, when the whole earth is destroyed, and then that's the end of the evolution cycle of humans. And of course, at that time, there is either you have been able to get into heaven in that time, or you haven't. But, it also stands, that this doesn't have any, even the angels doesn't know when that is. And we also have the day of the Lord, the personal judgment day, that the Christians were experiencing. And they were waiting for this judgment of Jesus, to see themselves for who they really was and get that spiritual awakening. You can actually go into the Gospel of the Revelation, and you will see that John starts, the whole thing with, it was in the day of the Lord, and then he see this angel, and then he was getting all this revelation. So that was his day of the Lord. That's not the same as the end of the world. And then you also have the end of the Jewish civilization, or at least, the Jewish civilization in Jerusalem, that also was prophesied. And so this is very different things. But I'm talking like way out of here. So let's go back to the thing, reincarnation. So I think the best story where you actually can find reincarnation is in the Bible is John chapter 9, verse 1 to 12. Because you can see, let's see here, there's a blind man. And the cool thing is this man has been born blind, So the disciples, they know this, and they ask Jesus, whose fault is it that this guy is blind? Is it his fault because he has sinned, or is it his parents' fault? Because in the Jewish religion, they thought, that if someone had a disease, it was a punishment from God. It was a punishment because they had been sinful. So since the disciples can ask this question, and they know he has been born blind, so they ask, have he sinned before he was born? So they're actually asking has he sinned in another life? Are his blindness in this life a result of his bad action in an earlier life? So what does Jesus answer? He doesn't go into the thing about reincarnation at all, but he just throws away the whole notion that disease is given as a result of sin. He actually says that this man got this disease so I can heal him, so he can wake up and find God. That actually gives a whole new thing. But you see, Jesus doesn't attack the notion of reincarnation. Actually, it seems that Jesus already knows about reincarnation, and it's not even a subject you need to take on, because they know it is it. So then we also have in John 1:20, John chapter 1 verse 21, where the Levites and the Pharisees are coming to John and they're asking. Let's see here. So this is John chapter 1, 19 to 21. You can also see in your own Bible. This is King James Version. And this is the record of John, when the Jews sent priests and Levites from Jerusalem to ask him, "Who art thou?" And he confessed and denied, but not confessed, "I am not the Christ." And they asked him, "What then? Art thou Elijah?" And he said, "I am not." "Art thou that prophet?" And he answered, "No." So you see that the highest, educated people amongst the Jews, the Levites, and the scribes, they come to John, the baptizer, and they ask him, "Are you the promised reincarnation of Elijah?" So this is a part of their thinking. Now, of course, John says no. Does that mean there aren't a reincarnation? No, but it means something else, because they ask, "Are you Elijah?" Of course, John are not Elijah. He has a different body, and he has a different identity. The soul and spirit is the same. This is the same as asking me, Garth, "Are you that monk that lived, somewhere in Europe for 500 years ago that you remember you have been?" And no, I'm not that person. He was totally different than me. So, because I remember some of my earlier lives, but it was a total different person. I'm not that person. I don't identify with those small strings of memory. No, in this life, I'm what I am in this life. Okay? And I think John felt it the same way. So, let's go on to Matthew. Again, we come to John the Baptizer. So in Matthew 3, 2-3. "And the same John had his raiment of camel hair, and a leathern girdle about his loin, and his meat was locust and wild honey." So this is actually a description that has been earlier about Elijah. So it's kind of like talking about John in Elijah's language, but it's a very soft referring, but it will be better, trust me. Okay, so in Matthew chapter 11, 14. So this is actually, just after John the Baptizer has been killed, Jesus starts talking about John, saying that he is the reincarnation of Elijah. Just listen to this, So this is from chapter 11, verse 11, and I will go down to 14, 11 to 14. "Verily," and this is actually King James, This is not my paraphrasing, this is King James originally. "Verily I say unto you, among them that are born of woman, there hath not risen a greater than John the Baptist. Notwithstanding, he that is least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he." So here's the thing. He's not even... John the Baptizer hasn't gone into heaven yet. He hasn't had enough reincarnations. But let's just continue. "And from the days of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven suffered violence, and the violence taketh it by force. For all the prophets and the law prophesied until John. And if ye will receive it, this is Elijah, who it was prophesied to come," which was for to come, it just stands in King James, but you see? So it's prophesied that Elijah would come again, and it's John. It's there, awesome. But it will become better. Because if you go to Matthew, chapter 17, verse 10. And the disciples asked him, of course, Jesus. Oh, I lost the thing. And the disciples asked him, saying, "Why then say the scribes that Elijah must come first?" And Jesus answered and said unto them, Elijah truly shall come first, and restore all things. But I say unto you, that Elijah is come already, and they knew him not, but have done unto him whatsoever they wished. Likewise shall also the Son of Man suffer of them. Then the disciples understood that he spake unto them of John the baptizer. So you can actually see, Jesus says it, and the disciples understand who it really is, So there we have, some proofs of reincarnation. They are very vague, but it actually proves that one, the Levites and the Pharisees, they actually believed in reincarnation. The disciples of Christ believed in reincarnation. Jesus was hinting to reincarnation at least once, and when he was confronted by reincarnation, he didn't disapprove it. And there are actually, either if you make like a model with reincarnation or not reincarnation, all, the, what it's called, all the, all the learning, all the spiritual teaching of Jesus, it's valid. It's, in fact, if you put those two in opposite direction, if you like compare those two, the one like with one life theory and many lives theory, and you look at, all the, all the teaching of Jesus, you actually see that they fit much better together with the many lives theory. And it also stands, in the Gospels that, the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of truth, will show us everything that's true and nothing that's not wrong. And when you actually start to work with the Holy Spirit, you will start also to see you have other lives. So, and then, you don't have to, then no one will have to worry anymore, when they start to see this. But until then, there's nothing that's actually opposed to reincarnation in the Bible. But there are many places that actually can be explained better. But still, Jesus' message, it wasn't, to explain a lot about the spiritual world. It was about, to make that relationship with God whole again. So, I hope that was interesting. I was a little bit tired, but, I think I just wanted to do this. So, stay tuned for more cool things.